I'm here today with Botha, Wealth Manager at Bovest. So Gio, the world of investing can be quite confusing and pretty daunting, especially as a young person starting out a new portfolio. Where do you actually begin?
Young people come to me and they say to me, I want to invest. I'm not sure where and I don't know how much. I say, okay, let's take a step back. Let's look at your budget. Okay, then we analyze the budget. And we use a method called reverse budgeting. So how that works is we look at your net income. So that will be your income after tax and after company deductions. Okay, then we work on a 50, 20, 30 principle. Okay, so in the 50, we allocate all your must-have expenses. So that will be your groceries, your car, the place where you stay, any medical expenses, insurance cover, Wi-Fi, cell phone, all those things that's essential for you to sustain your lifestyle. Okay, so we list all of those, get the total. That must be roughly around 50% of your net income. If it's way more, then we know that's your problem. You know, problem you're driving, your car is too expensive for your salary, or the place where you're staying is too expensive. We need to look at that portion of your salary, of your budget. Now we say, okay, if that's more or less 50% of your net income, now before you go and spend on the nice-to-have things that you want to spend on, let's pay your future self first. Let's reverse that order. We're first going to invest at least 20%. Okay, so now we have the 20%, and then the last 30%, you can then go and spend on whatever you want to spend your money on. You don't have to track every single coffee you drink or glass of wine, because you know that 30% is allocated towards spending, because you already looked after your must-have expenses, you already looked after your future self, and now you can spend the rest with a clear conscience.
Great. So now you know that you've got the money for it. It's in the budget. But what investment structure do you actually now start with? What do you do?
Yes, great. So now we've allocated more or less the amount. So if you earn 50,000 Rand a month, that's 20% of that will be 8,000 Rand a month towards investing. Now we say, what is your personal goals, your financial goals? If it's for retirement, you want to save for retirement, we will allocate a portion of that 8,000 Rand goes towards a retirement annuity. You also want an emergency fund. If something should happen, we will allocate a portion of that 8,000 Rand to an emergency fund. And then you also want to save for the long term, take the tax benefit of a tax-free savings account, and a portion of the 8,000 Rand will go towards a tax-free savings account then. So it's very personal, because every person's financial goals will differ, and it should differ. So that's why there's never one standard portfolio or standard answer I can give you. I will look at your specific goals. I will say that 20% in your budget, this is where we will allocate it to. We will take it, look at your goals, and then we'll allocate it towards these specific goals.
Great. Okay, so we've got the money. We know the structures we're going to use. Now, in short, in what type of assets do we now invest in? What's the asset allocation we're looking at?
Okay, so asset allocation is everything to do with time horizon. Time horizon meaning how long you're going to be investing for. So if you're saving towards retirement, that's still a long way to go. You can invest quite aggressively. Okay, so aggressively meaning you will have more share exposure in that specific investment. But for you're young, but you also want an emergency fund. That emergency fund can't be invested the same as your retirement annuity. Completely different goals. So your emergency fund, I will then invest conservatively, and that will be more money market and bond exposure. So it's very important to look at your individual circumstances, make sure you get a tailor-made portfolio for that circumstances, and then just stick to that plan.
Perfect. I think the first point for me always is to see a professional. But thank you, Joe. That structure gives us structure, and it makes it a little bit less cloudy. And maybe you can just give us those 3 points again, just to say where do we start? Budget.
Yeah, so 100%. Start with your budget. Make sure you have at least 20%. If you can invest more, great. Then have your personal goals, because that will determine where we're going to invest in. And then just stick to the plan. Absolutely. Don't overcomplicate it. You've already got a plan. Now just stick to the structure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe.